If anybody ever questions my sad devotion to the ancient religion of Star Wars, it doesn't take much to convince them otherwise. Over the past several decades, I've acquired an eclectic array of Star Wars memorabilia because I'm just a sucker for anything Star Wars. But let's get this clear. I'm a fan of the old school Star Wars, which is why I still watch Star Wars on the 1995 Laserdiscs before there was any bastardization with CGI, because as we all know, Han shoots first. The original bodyguard in A Clockwork Orange, Darth Vader, is my favorite character in all of the Star Wars movies. And when I heard he was making an appearance in Soul Calibur IV, there wasn't even a question. I had to go out and check out this game.
Soul Calibur IV.
So cheers to you, Darth Vader, and original Boba Fett. Do you notice that the beer suds seemed to flow around his helmet, proving that the Force does exist within the original Burger King Star Wars glasses?
Stage completed.
But on to the game. This is the highly anticipated Soul Calibur IV on the PlayStation 3.
Countless warriors have cast themselves into battle for the cursed sword.
And interestingly, they released Soul Calibur IV on the Xbox 360 and the PS3, each with different Star Wars characters. It's sort of like when TV Guide comes out with 16 different covers of the same issue. You don't have to buy them all, but you know there's somebody out there that does. When I had to choose between the two, I went with the PlayStation 3 version because it's not that I don't like Yoda. I like the little guy. But I'd much rather play as Darth Vader. It's actually strange they chose Yoda and not Luke Skywalker for the Xbox 360 version. Maybe Luke will make an appearance if they re-release this game on the Atari 2600. Because the other Star Wars games on the Atari were pretty good, like the Empire Strikes Back game, where you shoot AT-ATs with your snowspeeder, and also Star Wars Death Star Battle. There's really no shortage of good Star Wars games.
I shall release your power now.
The voice dialogue sounds more like the Predator than James Earl Jones, but you know, what are you gonna do? It's still better than Jar Jar. Soul Calibur IV does not fall into the category of a Star Wars game. In fact, Darth Vader seems strangely out of place with this motley crew of Soul Calibur characters. In this two-part review, we'll take a look at how Darth Vader is integrated into this game, and I have to admit, he's a lot of fun to play, primarily because there's just no weapon cooler than a lightsaber, and they got the sound effects just right, and it's just a great feeling to wail on somebody with the lightsaber. The only downside to the combat in this game is that with all of the edged weapons and the lightsaber, there would be so many decapitations. And that's one thing that we are missing here, is that you cannot whack somebody's head or arm or leg off with a lightsaber. But they do have all the cool noises like the sizzling sound and the crackling sound that the lightsaber makes. One of the features I like about this game, and in most good fighting games these days, is the ability to learn the button combinations in a training mode.
Don't underestimate the power of the Force.
Underestimate me and you'll regret it.
Training, start.
I'm not the biggest fighting game fan in the world, and I really haven't followed the Soul Calibur series much. We reviewed Soul Calibur on the Sega Dreamcast 9 years ago, but I haven't spent much time with this series since then. My main objective was to learn how to play with Darth Vader, and my biggest problem with most of these fighting games is I don't personally find it a lot of fun to just memorize loads and loads of button combinations. So when I play, it turns into a bunch of button mashing, and eventually I get bored with the game and go back to playing Atari or something. I think that these kind of games are a lot of fun in a 2-player setting. And the PlayStation 3 version and the Xbox 360 version are both playable online, so you can play against your friends or total strangers.
Much.
Which is pretty much standard for fighting games these days, so it's cool to see that you can play as Darth Vader and go wail upon some chick in a bikini wearing a Viking helmet all the way across the world. We'll get into more of the storyline and the different gameplay modes in part 2 of this review, and listen to the sound effects in this next segment and how well they incorporated them into the gameplay. Anyone that knows that sizzling sound that the lightsaber makes after it cuts through a metal bar in The Empire Strikes Back should appreciate the work that went into the sound design in this game. I like that you could play as Darth Vader and then switch him out and bring in a totally different character. I liked the girl with the staff. She was really good for keeping enemies at a distance and then stabbing them in the face and smacking them with that staff. Darth Vader seemed to be more of a close quarters combat kind of guy. He had a lot of cool moves too, using the Force, which I wasn't terribly good at figuring out how to use in combat. And also, I just particularly liked to hear the lightsaber sound during fighting. Didn't the designers of this game watch The Empire Strikes Back? I mean, Luke Skywalker was a Jedi, and he had his hand cut off. Now, that lady was just a pirate. She should have easily been decapitated. It's great to hear some of the original John Williams Star Wars themes in here. And although there's not many other Star Wars elements in Soul Calibur 4, you do have a nice Star Wars themed level, which is one of the docking bays in the must have been Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, because remember, he had that really big one that crashed at the end of Return of the Jedi. So I'm not entirely sure where the continuity of this video game takes place. I don't remember pirates in the Star Wars trilogy. Not that it would have been bad to include pirates. I'm not talking about space pirates doing the Kessel Run and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about swashbuckling, seafaring, barnacle-loving pirates with bandanas. There's another character called the Apprentice who you get to fight at one point, and he has a lightsaber, and he's pretty tough. That's a tough guy to defeat. The graphics, as you can see on screen, are just incredible. The character creation is a lot of fun, and we'll go into that more in part 2. The big question is, does including Darth Vader in Soul Calibur 4 make the game worth buying? The thing to remember is it's not Soul Calibur in the Star Wars universe, it's Star Wars in the Soul Calibur universe. So if you like Soul Calibur and you like fighting games, this game is definitely worth buying. If you like Star Wars a lot more than you like Soul Calibur, then I'd spend your money elsewhere, like on a collection of old-school Burger King Star Wars glasses, the Lapti Nek Disco Dance Remix from Jabba's Palace, or pick up a copy of The Empire Strikes Back for Atari 2600. Cheers to you people for bringing Darth Vader into a fighting game, but shame on you for not including the Gonk droid.